All right, so I want to rotate around there. So I come down here to my options bar, change my pivot point to the 3D cursor. And then I can just hit R. You'll see that dotted line stretches to the 3D cursor, not the origin now. And now I can go lid. Hello, everybody. You know, stuff like that, right? So you can make it kind of open a little bit like that, which defies physics, you know, defies gravity, but gives me an angle that I kind of want, because now I can grab it and say, well, maybe that box is gonna just lay on there. So I'm gonna move back to my median, and kind of just line those suckers up. You know, it's like resting against the edge or something, because there's some new shoes in there or whatever, right? Doesn't matter. So before we do anything else, I want everybody to save their file, because we haven't saved yet. Command S, it's going to ask you, do you want to save over this file? Or if you've saved it already. If you haven't saved it, it's going to ask you, where do you want to save it? I told it, yes, save over the file, but I'm going to hit Save As just to show you where. So it might look like this. It's going to open this file browser window. Find a place you want to save it. It'll give you sort of a finder of, you know, you probably don't have any bookmarks, probably no reasons, but navigate to wherever you're saving your stuff. Give it a file name up here. If this bar is red, then there's something in that directory that's already called that, and you're going to override that file. All right, zoom tight. If it's red, I'm going to bring antihistamines next time, I think. If this bar is red, make sure that you know that you want to write over that file. Otherwise, just give it a name, hit Save Blender File, boom, saved. All right, so everybody save real quick. Okay, are we all saved? Yay, I'm saved. Sorry, that was a bad evangelical joke. I'll start. The power. Anyway, it's been a long day already. Say again.
Was it like talking about what you were drinking, and I realized it's a koozie, and that's like eating out in the sports drink?
No, I stopped all pre-workouts and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, during the summer, I didn't have to get up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym. So. You thought it was what? That's what. So that's something we had an informal memorial for Dr. Weirman last Friday. Here in the department, and that he always had a LaCroix with a koozie on it, and we were sort of speculating that he did that to reinforce this notion that he would always have something in a koozie. So the days where he wanted to have a beer in a koozie, he wouldn't think twice that he was carrying around something in a koozie. I'm not saying I'm doing that, maybe, but maybe, right. I mean, it just shows that he thought about the long game, right? He goes, I'll drink LaCroix in a koozie for like 10 years, and the one day I want a beer, I can do it and get away with it. But also, it's not a dry campus, so I mean, I could drink in my office. It's not a big deal. I can keep beer in the fridge. It's not a big deal. I'm a professor. They expect me to day drink. It's all right. It's part of my tenure. No. Yeah, and it is Monday. Okay, so got our box. Yay, box. One of the nice things about Blender is that it comes with a layer system, just like Photoshop or Illustrator. So you can isolate layers, you can isolate objects on layers, you don't have to just move it out of the origin, the intersection, that origin point. Or you can show them all together, you can see all the layers at once, just like Photoshop and Illustrator, it's the same concept. But it is very unhelpfully not labeled. This is your layer selection window, these 20 little boxes, all right? If you have something on the layer, you'll have a dot. If you have that thing selected on that, damn it, stop. If you have that thing selected on that layer, it will be an orange dot. If you have a billion things on that layer, you'll have one dot, okay? Yeah, it's a terrible layer window, but there's already a billion things going on in Blender, so literally a billion, no. There's many things going on in Blender. So we want to move to the second layer. You can just click on it to go to it. You can, if you're using a full-size keyboard, with a number pad, the numbers at the top are your layer selection numbers. So if you hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you're going to that layer. If I came over and helped you and I accidentally hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to move the camera around, and your stuff disappeared and you freaked out for a split second, it's because we just went to a different layer. All right. If you're on a laptop, You just have to click on the buttons. Yeah.
You don't have buttons.
You don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No, on the bottom of my bar.
You don't have those buttons?
Oh, because you're in edit mode. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta be in object mode. Sorry, those squares only show up if you're in object mode.
You don't have number buttons on your computer?
I was like, how do you not have number bars? Like, you don't have a touchpad bar thing, but that still has numbers too. I was thinking, I don't know, you got to figure it out. Yeah.
So what if you're in object mode?
Your Blender installation. True. You don't have edit?
No.
Anybody else not have the layer selections?
How do you get this?
First, I'll figure it out. Just Google it. Blender, where the hell are my layers?
Oh, wait. I'm showing up in this on the side.
Well, yeah, there'll be some over there. But it's not
Like, drag.
Yeah, no, what it's doing is that's different. That's not
Oh,
ours.
okay. That's also
I don't know. We'll figure it out eventually. You could Google, if you don't want to wait for me to figure it out, you can always Google it. Because that's what I'm going to do. So, all right. Okay, so I'm going to move to layer 2. I'm going to make sure my cursor is snapped to the center, and we're going to make an orange really quickly. Okay, very quickly, because I have 15 minutes. So I'm going to make a sphere. But before I do anything to the sphere, are you okay?
How'd you make this?
Alex, are you good? Guys, I'm recording, okay? So you will be able to go and look at this later. Before you do anything to it's Shift A for your add menu. Before you do anything to the sphere, you need to bring up your toolbar and look at the bottom of it because it has these options for a sphere. The add UV options. If you click on your sphere, move it, hit G, move it away, and click, all those options go away. Okay? You don't want those options to go away because we want to be able to edit initially kind of segments and rings. If they go away, it's fine. We can adjust it. What this panel is doing is it's giving you the options to add more faces, to add more complexity, segments and rings. So I can increase your segments. Those are your lines of longitude, right? Rings, lines of latitude. If you don't keep these numbers round, you're going to end up with like rectangles instead of squares for faces. It's not that big of a deal, but it could matter later on. All this does is it makes the object more complex. Okay, smoother maybe. Because it has more faces, it's more geometry to work with. It's not a big deal right now, but I just want you to know that it's there. You can always add that stuff later through modifiers. All right. I think this was like 32, and I don't remember what this was, 16? Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to work with an orange that is fairly simple, low poly, as we call it in the biz. This is simple. This is easy. Couple different ways to take a slice out of this guy. All we really want to do is be able to cut a segment out of it. Leo, you figured it out. What did you do to do it?
I highlighted a big single face.
Yeah. And held shift and deleted it?
Yeah.
Okay. Leo did it the really hard way. We are not going to do it the really hard way. We're going to do it the easy way. But nice. I mean, you figured it out on your own, so good work. Okay, so you could do it Leo's way. That would totally work. A much easier way is to do something called edge loops. To use edge loops. All right. An edge loop. So really, the sphere has two main vertices. It has many vertices, but it has two main ones at the poles. Okay. Z gets you into wireframe. So I have two of these points where all of these lines of longitude meet. All right. That means that if I want to, I can select a whole sequence of these vertices. And I do that by holding Control and clicking, oops, actually it's better in edge mode. Holding Control and Shift, oh, why are you not working? Is it Option and Shift? Oh, it's Option and Shift, sorry, my bad. Holding Option and Shift, or just Option, and then Shift again. And what that does is holding Option and clicking on that edge will select all those edges from pole to pole, because that is a loop. I told you, you did it the hard way. So, we're going to select the whole swath of these things, okay? Option, well not, okay, so Option and click on the edge, so between the vertices, don't click on the, don't click where they meet, click between them first, okay? It's better if you're not in, it's harder if you're in wireframe mode. So move to solid mode for this, hold Option and then click on the edge. So I'll just do that again, hold Option, click on the edge. Selects all of them, okay? Now hold Shift and Option, because we're adding to the selection. Anytime you add to a selection, you hold Shift, just like in Photoshop and Illustrator. And then we're just gonna find a wedge that we want. So maybe we want like chunk out of it like that, okay? But you'll see that it didn't select all of the faces and stuff in between them, right? So you just repeat that process. Still not. Let me go to face mode real quick.
How did you change from facing the edge mode?
Just a second. Shift, Control Tab. All right, so edge mode's not going to be the way we want to do it. Face mode is. Sorry, my bad. So same process. If you click further in towards the poles, you're going to click the like rings of latitude. If you click further out towards the edges, you'll get the longitude. Okay, segments of longitude. So I'm holding Shift and Option and clicking out here, selecting all those, but I still need to come in here. And now just holding Shift, not Option. Oops. Selecting these, right? And then I'm going to rotate down here, hold Shift, select all those. So now I have my wedge, and it's a good wedge. Okay, this is the wedge I want, right? So once you have your wedge selected like this, you want to hit P, because this will separate it. And you want to separate the selection. All right? So separate the selection, and what that does, see how it turned gray like that? It makes it a different object. So if I hit Tab, I now have a different object. I have my slice. It's not a filled slice, but it's a slice. Okay? All right. Now to fill them, to make them actually look like, you know, they need to, you can go into edit mode. Okay, guys, if you're lost, don't worry about it. Just watch up here, and then you can refer to the video later. Okay? So I'm going to just grab that point and that point. Now this would be really fun if I could just like draw a line between here and make it fill it. It's not going to do that. Not going to do that at all, sadly. It'd be great if it would, but it's not going to. But we are gonna put a line in here. We're gonna connect these two with an edge. Okay. So I select these two vertices and I hit F. That creates that edge. But now I want to put a vertex in between them because I want that vertex to be the point where I then draw lines out to these edge vertices. Does that make sense? For like little pizza slices to go all the way down the orange, and that will make it a solid. Does that make sense to everybody? Kind of what's gonna happen? Molly's like, nope, nope. All right, well, to put it, it'll, you know, if you watch, it'll make sense here in a second. To kind of bisect this line with that edge selected, I hit W. This is the specials menu because we're gonna subdivide it. So we're gonna take a line and subdivide it, which just means chop it in two. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Anyway, that's what you're gonna do. Subdivide. It gave me a vertex right kind of where that origin point is. Actually, we're gonna change that origin point real quick. Transform origin to center of mass. Puts it right there in the middle. It's the center of the mass right now. Just so I can see this. We'll move it again here in a minute. So now I have this guy, or gal, or whatever, this thing. And I want to connect these and make this a face. I want to make this a triangular face. So I select all of those points, holding shift while I do it, and then hit F for a face. And that makes a face. Okay. It would be really nice if I could just do that, which you can, but the thing with this, those are not good faces. Okay. If you were to try to 3D print this or something, or texture map it, it's going to look a little weird. All right. Because it doesn't actually have the segmented faces that it needs. Blender fills it and shows you a solid face, and it's fine for now, but it can cause problems. It's a messy mesh. It's a messy way of doing it. All right. So the preferred method is to manually grab these and hit F and come through and make your little segments like that. Okay. So that's what I would prefer you do. It is a little tedious, but as you can see, it doesn't take terribly long. Whoa. Sometimes you will accidentally do that. That was a first-person camera. I think it's like Shift F. Gives you a first-person camera in Blender to move around. So if you accidentally hit Shift F, just hit Escape, and it'll get you out of that. Okay. Escape will save you a lot. So you're just going to do that. You're going to fill it. Oops. Make sure you don't select the wrong vertices. Rotate your camera if you need to, etc. Alright, so you just do that for all those sides. You can do the same thing then on the main orange. You need to connect the poles with an edge. You need to subdivide that edge to give yourself a center point to work from. You know, I'm going to make it messy really quick just to make it fast. F. Let's go F. Right, but I want you to do the segments. Okay, don't do the fast messy way. So that gives you your orange. Right, that's a very easy way to do an orange slice. To the orange slice. So super simple, super easy. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? No.